Ta-Nehisi Coates takes over Captain America and throws him directly into the deep end of a swirling spiral of self-doubt. I'm Stan, and this is Detail Comics. What's up, everybody? This is an I Review, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Captain America #1 by Ta-Nehisi Coates with art by Lenil Francis Yu. When this was first announced as part of Marvel Fresh Start, there were a lot of reactions from a lot of different fans. Some weren't very happy to see Coates taking over the title, expecting him to bring a heavily political viewpoint like he's shown recently in Black Panther. Others were excited to see what kind of fresh take he could provide, especially given current events around the globe. Up until today, July 4th, 2018, we had only loose ideas of what to expect from the team regarding the direction for Cap, but now we have a strong inclination of what lies ahead. As Captain America #1 kicks off, we are introduced to a threat that lies ahead of Steve. In the first few pages, it appears that splinter cells of Hydra agents have made their move on Moscow, attempting to take root in Mother Russia. But two women, revealed to be Alexa and Celine, make short work of these men, taking one of them as either a hostage or to be made an example of. For those of you that aren't familiar with Celine, for reasons that become apparent in the comic, it looks like this is Celine Gallio, one of the oldest living mutants and a former member of the Hellfire Club. However, what she's doing in Russia, still unclear. But as we bounce back to Washington, D.C., we see Nuke, or at least something that looks like him given the American flag across his face, gunning down civilians in the heart of the nation's capital. An action that can only be described as domestic terrorism. I know that people will look at this scene from both sides, setting their sights directly on the Second Amendment, but in the context of this story, it serves as a setup for Captain America's grand entrance, while also sowing some seeds of mental unrest. When combined with the death of a Nuke right at his feet, talking about the betrayal he committed when he gave the country over to Hydra, you start to see where things are going. The impact of Secret Empire, the distrust of a nation, the decision to try and outrun the shame or face it head on. These are going to be central to this new story. On top of that, as we see Steve staring into the aftermath, the more political theme starts to emerge, which will be dealing with how split the country is, whether that is your personal viewpoint or not. For the vast majority of people, perception is reality, and that is very well illustrated when General Ross declines the help of Captain America in order to keep up appearances. The country doesn't trust the face of the man that essentially held them hostage under the rule of Hydra, which no one can blame them for. Breaking into the last third of the book, we see Steve and Sharon having dinner, trying to catch up on things, but Coates takes this and twists it into a meeting of survivors. Steve still lives with the distrust of the nation and is eager to do anything he can to stamp out the remnants of what happened. He'll go to great lengths, including prying information from Sharon, since she is working closely with Ross to combat the threat. Sharon is living with the hell that she went through at the hand of Arnim Zola. She thinks about Hydra Cap and how everything she did unknowingly, to the point where just thinking about it brings her nearly to tears. These wounds are still fresh, and Coates is going to use that to fuel various aspects of the story and push it forward. They're going to deal with these things, move past them, even as former Hydra leaders are pardoned for aiding in the destruction of the previous Hydra regime. If it feels strange to you, it shouldn't, since this is something the United States has done for ages. U.S. space travel and NASA was built on the back of Wernher von Braun, his work on ballistic missiles, and that of other Nazi scientists that were smuggled out of Germany following World War II redefined the space age. As Steve heads out into the night to calm his mind and stop a mugging, things become crystal clear as Alexa and Celine make another appearance in Russia. Steve's confused, feeling that this is no longer his America. In the wake of Secret Empire, there were people, citizens, that weren't Hydra agents but welcomed the change anyway, giving them the freedom to do things they hadn't before. They want that back. The people that felt betrayed don't look at Captain America the same way. The symbol of freedom broke their trust and put them in metaphorical chains. Then, unbeknownst to Steve, trouble is brewing in the heart of a Hydra-controlled Russia as Celine executes a Hydra soldier in front of a crowd. It's at this point where you can make the clear call on whether Coates has hooked you or not. If you find the political aspects of the story too weighty since they slow the story down, or the parallels to modern-day America a little strong, this might not be for you. However, if you are intrigued by the story of a man that has lost his way, someone that has to fight an uphill battle, not only to regain the respect of the people, which is taken by another person, but to understand what kind of split has happened inside a country he risked his life for, if you're a fan of the long game, where everything means something, and the pieces weave together over time, it might just be for you. I will say that I'm interested in seeing where Coates can take this, given the fresh facelift he gave the King of Wakanda in the new Fresh Start Black Panther. I also like what Lenil Francis Yu is doing with the art inside the title. The imagery is good and has a cinematic flair that matches well with Coates in his writing style. The action scenes flow into one another, punctuating the sparse word balloons. The emotional faces really draw you in, especially in scenes like the dinner with Steve and Sharon. Overall, things work well, but is it a blockbuster comic book? I wouldn't say so. I believe that Ta-Nehisi Coates knows exactly what kind of Captain America he wants to write, but whether it is something that a wide range of fans want to read or not is something else entirely. You can count me among the people that want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, but I can understand if you feel like getting off at the first stop. That's why I want to know what you guys thought about Captain America #1. Does it feel like the right comic book for right now? Are you on board for something that reflects the world outside your window like Marvel has always said? Is it a bit too slow and heavy-handed for your liking? Let me know in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything having to do with the world of comics.